All right, so today we're diving into Stellar, a blockchain that's carved out a really specific mission for itself, rewiring global finance. See, it's not trying to be the next world computer or do a million different things. Instead, it has one job and one job only, moving value around the world, making it fast, cheap, and super reliable. Okay, let's get into it. And really, to get what Stellar is all about, you have to start with this question right here. It's the whole idea that sparked its creation, and, it's what sets it apart from so many other crypto projects out there. This isn't just a tagline, it's a philosophy that has shaped literally everything about the network, from its code to its partnerships.
So let's rewind a bit and go back to the beginning, because you really need to see how this whole mission-driven thing came to be. Stellar wasn't just a new project, it was basically a direct response to an old one.
The story really kicks off in 2014. Jed McCaleb, who was one of the co-founders of Ripple, had this huge disagreement about its future. He just fundamentally believed that a global payment system shouldn't be run by a for-profit company. So he left and co-founded Stellar. And to make sure it stayed true to that vision, he set up the nonprofit Stellar Development Foundation, or SDF, with some critical seed money from Stripe. But the moment that really tells you everything you need to know happened in 2019. The SDF burned, poof, gone, over half the entire supply of its token Lumen. Now, this wasn't just some gimmick to pump the price. It was a multi-billion-dollar signal to the entire world that they were all in on decentralization.
And this right here, this is their North Star. It guides everything they do. It's not about building fancy tech just for the sake of it. No, it's about solving a huge, real-world problem. The fact that our current financial system just leaves way too many people on the sidelines. Stellar was designed from day one to fix that.
So, that's the why. But what about the how? How does Stellar actually pull this off? Well, that takes us into the engine room, the unique tech that makes it so fast and so cheap.
At the very heart of Stellar is something called a Federated Byzantine Agreement. Now, don't let the fancy name throw you. The core idea is actually pretty brilliant. See, unlike Bitcoin, which burns a wild amount of energy from mining, or Ethereum, where you have to lock up a ton of capital to participate, Stellar's system is all built on trust.
Okay, so how does this web of trust actually work? It comes down to something called a quorum slice. Think of it like this. Every computer or node on the network gets to pick its own little trusted crew of other nodes. For a transaction to get confirmed, enough of these little trusted crews have to overlap and agree on it. So agreement on the network isn't ordered from the top down. It just emerges from all these overlapping circles of trust.
And this whole design leads to a really, really important trade-off. Stellar is built to prioritize safety over liveness. What that means is the network would rather shut down completely than ever risk confirming a wrong transaction. I mean, for a financial network, that makes sense, right? A delayed payment is way better than a payment that goes to the wrong place. And this isn't just talk, by the way. Back in 2019, the network actually did halt for about an hour because it couldn't reach a safe agreement. It proved it would stick to its principles.
And the payoff for this super efficient model? Well, it's just plain fast. Your transaction is final, locked in, and done in about 3 to 5 seconds. But of course, speed doesn't mean much if you can't use it for anything.
Okay, so we've got this amazing tech, but tech is kind of useless if it doesn't solve real problems for real people, right? And this is where Stellar really starts to shine, by building a bridge between old-school finance and the new digital world.
The secret sauce here is what they call the anchor network. Just think of these anchors as the on-ramps and off-ramps for the blockchain highway. They're regulated financial companies that let you do something simple but powerful. Deposit your regular money, like dollars or euros, and get a digital version of it on Stellar. And just as important, you can cash that digital token back out. Without these anchors, Stellar would just be another closed-off system. With them, it becomes a truly global network.
And once you have that bridge, you can do some really powerful stuff. There are 3 big use cases that pop up right away. You've got cross-border payments. Partners like MoneyGram use Stellar to make sending money home way faster and cheaper. Then there's asset tokenization, which is just a fancy way of saying you can create a digital twin of a real-world asset. And then there's humanitarian aid. The UN's refugee agency actually used Stellar to get money directly and transparently into the hands of people in Ukraine. And look, if you think this is just some niche crypto thing, you gotta check this out. Franklin Templeton, a massive global asset manager with trillions of dollars, chose Stellar to launch the first ever tokenized U.S. mutual fund on a public blockchain. This was a huge stamp of approval. It showed that Stellar's focus on compliance and reliability makes it a perfect fit for the most buttoned-up, regulated parts of finance.
All right, so Stellar is obviously doing something right. But let's be real, the crypto world is a crowded place.
So let's take a look at how it carves out its own unique space.
And that's the big question, isn't it? You've got these giants like Ripple and Ethereum out there, so where does Stellar even fit in? It's not trying to go head-to-head with them. It's playing a totally different game.
This chart just lays it all out, plain and simple. Just look at the governance row. Stellar is a nonprofit, Ripple is a for-profit company. Totally different DNA. Then look at who they're for. Stellar is targeting individuals, the unbanked, and fintech startups, while Ripple is all about big banks. And compared to Ethereum, which is this general-purpose world computer, Stellar is a specialist. And then you get to the fees. The result of that focus? A transaction fee that is a tiny, tiny fraction of a cent.
So here's the bottom line. Stellar isn't trying to be an Ethereum killer or anything like that. It's a specialist. It's laser-focused on being the absolute best at payments and issuing assets. It gives up the do-everything flexibility of other networks to be faster, cheaper, and more reliable in its chosen field. Okay, so where does Stellar go from here? Well, it has a pretty ambitious plan to tackle its challenges and really lean into its strengths.
But first, you have to talk about the elephant in the room for Stellar: centralization. It's a real paradox, because the SDF's strong leadership is exactly what makes it so good at building partnerships and getting things done. But at the same time, it naturally makes people worry about there being a single point of control. It's a tension they are very aware of.
And this isn't just some abstract fear. Remember that 2019 halt we talked about? Well, it happened because a few key nodes, run by the SDF and some of its close partners, all went offline at once. Now, the network did exactly what it was designed to do. It chose safety and stopped. But it was also a massive wake-up call that the network had to become more decentralized to be truly robust. So, how are they fixing this? Well, their 2025 roadmap tackles these issues head-on. The goals for transaction speed and capacity are huge, for sure. But look at that last one, doubling the number of independent validators. That's not just about getting faster, it's a direct shot at the centralization problem. It's about making the entire network stronger and more resilient. And that really brings us to the final question, the big idea behind Stellar's entire strategy. In a world where every other blockchain seems to be trying to become the next global supercomputer, Stellar's making a different bet. It's betting on specialization. It's betting that in the incredibly complex world of finance, being the absolute best at one critical job is way more valuable than just being okay at everything. And whether that bet pays off, well, that could shape the future of a more equitable financial system for all of us.